Hello, I'm Lesley Close and I'm the proud author of this book, Hooked Rug Storytelling, The Art of Heather Ritchie. I first met Heather in the summer of 2001, and as soon as I met her I knew that this was somebody special. Her art is so vibrant, so colourful, so imaginative. I was astonished to find that nobody had written a book about her. After I'd known her for a couple of years, she said that a friend was going to do it, so I was thrilled to bits to think that her work would be recorded in book form, and very disappointed to find out a few months later that they'd decided against the project, so I took it onto myself to do the job. I started writing by creating one chapter and showing it to Heather and saying, "What do you think? Do you think this would work?" And we agreed on the approach of taking rugs that had particular significance for her, she calls them memory rugs, and writing the story that's told by the rug, as well as the story of how Heather came to create it, the technique she used. And that's why it's called storytelling, because it tells the story of two things: the memory for Heather, which is wrapped up in the rug, as well as the story of the time she made it. So our working method was to sit down together and to talk about her source material. This is the first rug that we talked about. It's called The Halfpenny Ferry, and it's a beautiful scene from South Hilton in Sunderland, which is significant to Heather. That's where she was born. It's also a place that's significant to her father. He was familiar with this area. And it's based on a photograph from the Sunderland Echo, taken in the 1950s. It shows the ferryman rowing the boat across the River Wear at South Hilton. And we talked about what Heather had taken from the photograph, what she'd left out, how she was able to introduce colour into a monochrome image, the different styles of hooking. This is very fine hooky work, and in places there are straight lines and in other places there are curved lines. And it was fascinating to hear her talk about this technique. We went on to talk about other rugs, of course. There are well over 20 in the rug book altogether. Here's another one, another example. This is a photograph that Heather took in 1963, which shows her father, who was by then completely blind, playing the piano for a group of children in a children's home in Sunderland, where Heather worked for a while. And she made these amazing faces from that picture. It's beautiful, it's very evocative. She's captured the essence, what she calls the jizz of those children, very well. There are lots of beautiful rugs in Heather's life, and they all tell these lovely stories. This is the story of her two brothers who left Sunderland at the outbreak of the Second World War to go and live with their mother in North Yorkshire, not very far from where Heather now lives. And this rug shows you the industry in Sunderland that's now disappeared for the most part. The ship works, the glass factory, mining. And in front of that industry, in front of a beautiful stone wall which has soot from the chimneys in the cracks, are two brothers standing side by side with the possessions they packed to take out to North Yorkshire and to their period of enforced absence from Sunderland. On the opposite page is what I called in the writing a Heather hooky hint. These are now being put onto a coloured background, which helps them to stand out from the rest of the text, and they tell you a little bit about Heather, how Heather works. This one tells you about drawing onto the backing, so she created the image straight onto the backing from a photocopy in some cases, or she just draws it freehand. She uses a light table to help her to see what she's doing, and it was very interesting to get that first-hand helpful information about how she works. There's another example here about dip dyeing. This comes from a rug called Percival's Bus, and in the sky in Percival's Bus there are lots of different shades which come purely from dip dyeing the fabric so that there's a different concentration of dye in each part of the fabric. It was brilliant to work with Heather on this book. It was really good fun, and I took most of the photographs of all the photographs of the rugs myself, and many of the other pictures too. She's so talented, she's so energetic and enthusiastic for her subject that it was a real pleasure to talk to her in this way, to get these inside stories of how to go about rug making. And I hope you enjoy reading the book as much as I enjoyed writing it. Thank you.